Hi, everyone, and welcome to yet another series of words. These words can be helpful for you to ace any exam, maybe GMAT, GRE, SATs. You can also utilize these words in your casual conversations, right? So let's look at what these words are, right? All right. So our first word is implicit. Implicit means understood, though not put clearly into words. If something is understood but not clearly, right, we say it's implicit, right? So someone is trying to explain you something, but in not real words, like they're not able to give exact words for it or give a proper explanation to what they want to say. We call such sentences explanations as implicit. Confidentiality is implicit in your relationship with a counselor. So, you can maintain confidentiality, and it is something in a relationship that should be understood. It's not like you have to talk about it, right? It's just something that is understood. We interpreted his silence as implicit agreement. Now, this person did not clearly state that he's agreeing to something. He just, he went silent. And his silence was interpreted, was understood as an agreement. So he did not say it in clear words that he's agreeing to something, but they understood it from his silence that he agreed. A soldier must give implicit obedience to his officers. Obedience that is understood, right? But you don't really put in words. So the soldiers are supposed to obey their superiors, their officers, in every way possible, right? So that is an implicit obedience, right? It is understood. No one really tells them that you have to obey this person. They already know that they have to obey this person, right? So that is implicit, understood, though not put clearly into words, right? Okay. Now let's look at our next word, that is impolitic. Now, impolitic means unwise and likely to cause offense or problems, right? Can you see this kid? She's irritating this guy so much, right? And this is impolitic. Okay, it's impolitic because she's causing problem to him, right? I thought it impolitic to ask any questions about her ex-husband. It would have been offensive if she asked the girl about her ex-husband. Therefore, she did not. I had thought it impolitic to smoke a cigar while pleading poverty. So if someone is saying, I'm really poor, I don't have money for this, I don't have money for that, and then you see that person smoking cigars, right? So that really contradicts the fact that they are poor. Okay. So I had thought it impolitic to smoke a cigar while pleading poverty. It would have been impolitic to refuse his offer. If I would have refused someone's offer, it would have been unwise. I could have suffered a loss, right? So if you're doing an act and the act might be unwise, or that act might cause offense to someone or problems for someone, you say the act is impolitic, right? Okay. Our next word, imprudent. Imprudent means unwise, just like impolitic, but unwise by failing to consider the likely results of your actions. If you want to say that someone is unwise, right? They are not really thinking about what they are doing, they are not smart. And they are doing all this without considering what the consequences of their actions might be. So if someone is failing to consider the results of their actions, we say they are imprudent. The banks made hundreds of imprudent loans in the 1970s. That means the decision of giving loan to so many people by the banks was unwise, and they did not care about the result of their action, right? It would be imprudent to speculate before the facts are known. So until the facts are known, one should not speculate. It would be unwise. She was ticketed in both cases for careless and imprudent driving. Imprudent driving, you can say careless driving. She was driving without considering the results of her actions. Right? So, imprudent when you're unwise and you do not consider the results of your actions. Right? That is imprudent. For example, this guy talking on phone, eating a bagel, and also having coffee in one hand. That's imprudent driving, careless driving, right? All right. Our next word, impudence. Now, impudence means to lack shame about your rude behavior, right? So if you have, if you're a person who is very rude and talks to everyone by shouting at them, right? Just like this woman right here, okay, might be a teacher. If you're such kind of a person and you are not ashamed of that behavior of yours, you are impudent, right? So let's look at the example. Certainly, we will not tolerate such impudence, he added. That means we won't tolerate such rude behavior from a person who is also lacking the shame, right? They're not at all ashamed of behaving this way. His impudence provoked her into slapping his face. So his rudeness made her slap him on his face, right? He stared at me with a mixture of impudence and hostility. That means he was looking at me with a rude, a mean look, right? And he lacked shame about it. Okay. So impudence, to lack shame about your rude behavior. That is impudence. Now, our next word is inalienable. Now, inalienable means unable to be taken away or removed. If you can't remove or take away something from someone, that thing becomes inalienable. You can't alienate it from someone. Remember, we learned the meaning of alienate. That means to separate or isolate something from someone. So inalienable, like if you see the word in, it means opposite of alienable. So you can't alienate things from someone. Such things are called as inalienable. If you can't take away or remove something from someone, then that thing is inalienable, right? For example, freedom of speech should be an inalienable right. Okay. So, freedom of speech is a right that cannot be taken away or can't be removed from a person's life, right? That is inalienable. Philosophy is inalienable. Even the discourse about the end of philosophy is philosophy. So, philosophy is a non removable part of your life because even if you start discussing about philosophy, you are actually doing philosophy, right? So, philosophy is inalienable. This is your inalienable duty. That means this duty of yours can't be taken away from you. You have to do it, right? So that is inalienable, right? Unable to be taken away or removed. You can make this a point that if you see in, right, before a word, so you have to understand that it marks the opposite of the main word. For example, competent, incompetent, alienable, inalienable, right? And similarly, you will come across a lot of words like those. inarticulate. Now, if you guys remember, we studied that articulate means being able to express your feelings, your ideas clearly. A person who is articulate or gives an articulate speech means that person expressed his or her feelings or ideas clearly in that speech, right? Inarticulate, opposite of articulate. That means the person was not able or was unable to express their feelings or ideas clearly. When it comes to expressing their emotions, some people are hopelessly inarticulate, right? Sometimes we are not able to put our emotions in words, right? So you say such people are inarticulate. He is a shy and inarticulate man. That means he is shy and he is unable to express his feeling. His speech was inarticulate and it was obvious he had been drinking, right? Now, if you say that someone's speech was inarticulate, that means the person's speech was not understandable, right? So, if someone is unable to express their feelings or ideas, their speech would be called as inarticulate. Now, if someone is drinking, definitely their speech is going to be, all fumbling and you won't be able to understand clearly what they're saying, right? So, we say that the speech is inarticulate, right? Okay, let's go to our next word. Incendiary. Incendiary means likely to cause violence or strong feelings of anger. It also means to cause fire. If you guys remember in Harry Potter, there was a spell incendio, right? That, casted a spell where you could have a light ray. So incendiary means you're causing violence or a strong feeling of anger in someone that might just result in violence. Incendiary also means to cause fire, right? He gave an incendiary speech at last night's rally. That means his speech instilled people, okay, his speech ignited people to act violently or it angered people, right? So if a speech is pushing people to act violently or causes people to get angry, you can say such a speech is incendiary, right? When they get close to the enemy fleet, the incendiaries are set alight. So incendiaries, the things which could have been which could catch fire, right? Such things were set alight. That means they were given fire so that they could be lit, right? So you can use incendiaries, like not you, in olden times when we did not have torches, right? So the enemy would, attack people if they would see light. So the armies used to go in the dark and they would use incendiaries when they wanted to look around, and use light. On the other hand, their behavior is too incendiary to go unchecked. That means their behavior is causing violence, it's causing anger in people, right? So we can't really ignore it, we can't let it go unchecked. So, incendiary to cause fire or to cause violence and strong feelings of anger. That is incendiary, right? Okay. Incensed. Now, what does it mean by incensed? Incensed means angered at something unjust or wrong. If you're angry at something that is wrong, that is actually wrong, and you're genuinely angry, or you can say you're beyond mad, right? Maybe, you made a really amazing presentation and someone else took credit for it, right? So that kind of anger, you call it incensed. The villagers are incensed at the decision to close the school. So the villagers were beyond angry. They were so angry Why? Because the schools were being closed in their area, and that is unjust. That is not fair, right? It is wrong. So being angry at something which is wrong is called as being incensed. Many people were incensed with the rise in healthcare costs. So if the healthcare cost is rising, of course it's unjust. It's not fair. So people would be angry and we'll call them incensed. She was stunned and briefly incensed by the accusations. So she was blamed unfairly, right? She did not do that thing, but she was still being blamed for it. So of course, anyone would get, angry beyond their limits. So yeah, she was incensed. She was really angry because she was being blamed unjustly. So incensed, angered at something unjust or wrong or being beyond mad, right? Okay. Incongruous. Incongruous, as you can see in this picture, means something that is not in harmony or appears strange. Look at this picture. I think the strangest picture I have seen today, right? So incongruous means things which are appearing strange or are not in harmony, right? The computer looked incongruous in the dark, book-filled library. So it seemed very strange, just having one computer and the library was filled with dark, like was filled with books and there was darkness all around. And then you have this one computer screen from where the light is coming. It seems incongruous to have a man as the editor of a women magazine, right? So it seems strange that a man was the editor of a women's magazine, right? I liked to tease the kids by suggesting incongruous colors. So what would I do in order to tease the kids? I would tell them weirdly strange colors to pair up with their clothes, and yeah, they would wear them and it would be really incongruous, right? It would be really strange, right? Okay. Indecorous, and now you can just see this dress and you can really tell indecorous, something that you should not really be decorating yourself with. Okay, so indecorous means behavior that is not proper or socially acceptable. That means it's against the decorum of the society, right? So if you are doing anything, a behavior that is not acceptable for the society or is not proper, you say it's indecorous. She could not ignore his indecorous behavior, though she loved him. So there might be a person who must be shouting at his wife or being violent. So that is something unacceptable, and she loved him but she still could not tolerate this indecorous behavior. It is an indecorous end to an indecorous presidency. So his presidency was not socially accepted, was not properly done, and it was a weird, socially unacceptable end to his presidency. Her dress is indecorous for a widow, said that lady severely. Now, you know how people love judging other people, right? So, maybe there is a woman who is a widow and she went to a party and yeah, she was being criticized by, those aunties who love criticizing other women about their dresses and God knows what, right? So, that is indecorous according to the aunties. That dress was indecorous because according to them, widows should not wear certain type of clothing, but they should wear a certain type of clothing, right? So indecorous behavior that is not proper or socially acceptable, right? All right, let's quickly revise then. Indecorous, as we just discussed, any behavior that is not proper or socially acceptable, anything that is not going to fare well with the society, right? So I'm saying fare well, not fare well, right? Okay. Something is not going to fare well with the society means society is not going to digest it. Okay, it won't go with the society. All right. Incongruous means Anything which is appearing strange or is not in harmony, that means it is not the way it should be. For example, this picture right here, right? Totally strange. So we can say it's incongruous. Incensed, when you are angry at something unjust or wrong, you are beyond mad, but because the thing is actually wrong, you are not unfairly mad, you are fairly mad at something, right? For example, if, your health care was taken away by your company, that would be unjust, right? So you can be incensed. Okay. Incendiary means causing violence or feelings of anger. If someone's speech, someone's words, someone's sentences can cause violence in another person or can cause a group to get angry, that means the speech is incendiary. Also, anything which can be lit, right? Anything which can be used to light up, anything that can catch fire is an incendiary. Things that were used, like this bottle with a cloth dipped in spirit, and you can easily light it, right? So this is an incendiary. Inarticulate means unable to express feelings or ideas clearly. Articulate, able to express feelings. Inarticulate, opposite of that, not able to, right? Unable to express feelings or ideas clearly. So if someone is not able to speak well, not able to make you understand what they want to say, then they are inarticulate, right? Inalienable. Inalienable means something that can't be taken away or removed or separated from a person or a thing, right? For example, freedom of speech can't be taken away from anyone, right? So freedom of speech is inalienable right. Okay? And a lot of things, right? Human rights are inalienable. They can't be taken away from us. Impudence means you are rude, but you are not ashamed about it. So to lack shame about your rude behavior is impudence. You are not rude. Let's say some person is rude, right? So, sometimes teachers get rude and they're not even ashamed of it, right? So they are impudent sometimes. Imprudent, right? This was impudence. This is imprudent. Imprudent means being unwise, right? But how you are unwise? Because you are not considering the results of your actions. You are just doing things without actually thinking about the consequences, right? For example, if you're driving while talking on phone and eating, that is imprudent driving, right? Impolitic is any behavior that is going to cause problems for the other person or any behavior that is offensive. For example, this girl is behaving in an impolitic way. Why? Because she's causing a problem for this guy, right? So impolitic, right? Implicit, that means making something comprehensible but not clearly. You are understanding something but they're not clearly put into words, it's not right out there. You get a hint of that thing, you understand it but not clearly in words. For example, sometimes you ask, when our parents, they are asking us a question like, where were you, and then we go silent, right? So that is implicit way of us telling them that we are guilty, we're sorry, right? So implicit is you are understanding something which is not really put into words. All right. So thank you so much for attending. I'll see you all soon. Take care.